Join me as I dive into Carl Jung's UFO theories and see if we can uncover this mind-blowing connection that could change everything we thought we knew. Carl Jung, one of the most prominent psychologists of the 20th century, known for his groundbreaking theories on the collective unconscious and archetypes. But what you might not know is that Jung also had a fascination with the unexplained, particularly with UFOs. The phenomenon of UFO sightings is a tricky one to grasp. On one hand, you have people who claim to have witnessed incredible, otherworldly events, and on the other hand, you have the skeptics who dismiss it all as mere fantasy. But what's often overlooked is the psychological aspect of UFO sightings. What drives people to believe they've seen something extraterrestrial? Is it mass hysteria, a desire for escape, or something more complex at play? When you start digging into the psychology of UFO sightings, things get even murkier. You have to consider the role of anxiety, fear, and expectation in shaping our perceptions of reality. And then there's the question of how our collective psyche influences our individual experiences. Are we simply tuning into a shared cultural narrative, or is there something more sinister at play? The complexity of it all can be overwhelming, especially when you throw in the added layer of modern technology and social media. How do we distinguish between fact and fiction, reality and fantasy, when our perceptions are constantly being filtered and manipulated? One thing's for sure, though, our fascination with the unknown is a powerful driving force behind the persistence of UFO sightings. It's as if we're tapping into some deep-seated desire for connection with the mysteries of the universe. Jung, of course, had a lot to say about the power of archetypes in shaping our collective unconscious. He believed that certain universal symbols and images like the mother, father, or trickster figures are embedded in our collective psyche, and that they influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in profound ways. What's interesting is that Jung also applied his theories on archetypes to the phenomenon of UFOs. He saw these modern, flying saucers as a manifestation of our collective unconscious, an expression of our deep-seated fears and desires. In his book, Flying Saucers, A Modern Myth of Things Seen in the Skies, Jung explores the symbolic significance of UFOs, arguing that they represent a longing for wholeness, unity, and transcendence. Take, for example, the archetype of the other, the alien, the stranger, the unknown. Jung believed that this archetype speaks to our deep-seated fears of the unknown, but also to our desire for connection with something bigger than ourselves. Or consider the symbolism of flight, which is embedded in many UFO narratives. For Jung, this represented a desire for liberation, freedom, and transcendence, a breaking free from the constraints of the material world. In many ways, Jung's ideas on archetypes can help us understand why UFO sightings continue to captivate us. They tap into our deepest desires and fears, speaking to something fundamental in the human psyche. But what's really mind-blowing is when you start to connect the dots between Jung's theories and contemporary UFO experiences. Take, for instance, the phenomenon of UFO abduction narratives, where people claim to have been taken on board extraterrestrial spacecraft. On the surface, these stories seem like pure science fiction, but when you dig deeper, you start to see the same archetypes at play: the experience of being taken out of one's ordinary reality, encountering the other, and being returned with a newfound sense of purpose or insight. It's as if our collective unconscious is feeding us these narratives, using the symbolism of UFOs to process our deepest anxieties and desires. And that's when things get really interesting, because it raises the question: are UFOs just a product of our collective imagination, or is there something more to it? The connection is staggering, and it's one that Jung himself hinted at in his writing. By exploring the symbolic significance of UFOs, we're not just tapping into our own psychological complexes, but also into the deeper mysteries of the universe. So, what does this all mean? To sum it up, Jung's theories on archetypes offer a fascinating perspective on the phenomenon of UFO sightings. By exploring the symbolic significance of these modern, flying saucers, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own psychological complexes, and maybe even uncover some hidden truths about the nature of reality itself. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the depths of Carl Jung's UFO theories. If you have any thoughts or insights, be sure to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my other videos on psychology and the unexplained. There's plenty more where this came from.